1966. Amid Cold War tension in West Germany came a weapon unnaturally advanced for its time. The Heckler & Koch MP5.
Some weapons evolve, others simply appear. Today, we investigate a question that has lingered in the B.I.R.C.H archives for decades. Is the MP5 truly a product of its time, of this dimension, or was it placed? Is that what I think it is?
A Jeep Willys wagon, used from 1946 to 1964. The first all-steel body passenger production station wagon.
An innovative Cold War relic? Only this one is obsolete now.
Any factual anomalies in this presentation are merely dimensional. Eventuelle sachliche Anomalien durch faktische dimensionalne razlike. Hello, Agent 12. What brings you to the archives today?
I'd like to investigate the MP5 and its unusually long relevance. I suspect temporal and dimensional tampering.
You may proceed.
Welcome to the archives, a pocket dimension with over 1,000 square miles dedicated to storing small armed dimensional artifacts. We have every weapon mankind has ever made across every instance of Earth we've discovered so far.
Proposal: conduct a comparative analysis of the MP5 against modern roller-delayed blowback firearms from the archives. The following entries may be used. The PTR Industries 9CT, Grand Power Strydog, and HS Product Kuna.
And that should tell us if the MP5 is just ahead of its time, or planted artifact.
Please enjoy the messages from these valuable partners. Those caught not enjoying will be subject to reintegration. We couldn't do our job here at B.I.R.C.H without Midwest Industries. Enjoy vast swaths of mounting real estate with their modern handguards for ARs, AKs, shotguns, subguns, railguns, and particle destabilizers. Enjoy stability, precision, adjustability, and that oh-so-cool factor with an Alpha Series Picatinny stock, and they're proudly made in the USA. Midwest Industries, we never settle, and neither should you. Those caught settling will be subject to reintegration. Global Ordnance is our munitions partner, providing Big Man 124 grain 9mm and Sterling 147 grain 9mm, all of which performed without failure across all three platforms. A provision of 5.7 will be coming for our next investigation, but further information is classified. And X-Tar USA, makers of fun, lightweight, reliable, and affordable polymers. Available in 9mm, 45 ACP, short and long variants. You'll adore your X-Star polymers. We guarantee it. Those not enjoying their X-Star polymers will be subject to reintegration. Thank you for your time, and may this help you better serve the greater omniplane.
Run baseline comparison. Begin with system classification.
Maschinenpistole 5. MP5, designed 1966. West Germany. Origin: Heckler & Koch GmbH. Operational for over 6 decades across 80-plus nation-states. Known variants: A1 through SD, K models, and Navy configurations. The MP5's roller-delayed mechanism functions by converting chamber pressure into controlled bolt movement. Upon firing, the bolt head is momentarily held in place by twin steel rollers pressed against angled recesses in the trunnion. Only after sufficient pressure decay does the bolt carrier overcome mechanical resistance and unlock. This regulates bolt velocity precisely, minimizing felt recoil and increasing controllability.
So as the name implies, the recoil is delayed, not eliminated. But the effect is amazing. And it runs incredible with various loads, suppressed, unsuppressed, and there's no tuning gas, no spring changes, nothing. It just works. The manual of arms is the greatest indication of age. Operating the bolt is entertaining, but slower. The trigger is underwhelming, and the mags must be inserted on an open bolt. A straight mag well means insertion has to be precise. I suspect the reload will be the slowest, but maybe this was a compromise by its trans-dimensional smugglers to hide the mechanical brilliance of its recoil mechanism.
Designation: Strybog, named for the Slavic god of wind. Released in 2018 by Grand Power Slovakia. marketed as roller delayed blowback, but the mechanism differs from the MP5 with a single roller on the bottom of the bolt rather than the sides. This allows for the use of a narrower, extruded aluminum upper versus the MP5's bent receiver. Customs, border units, and tactical police in Eastern Europe and parts of Latin America have tested or adopted the Strybog.
The Strybog is instantly recognizable as a modern firearm. It's got better controls, a better trigger, though I'm not sold on this bolt release. And these modern features are where it excels over the MP5. It's got Picatinny in the rear for a folding stock, Picatinny top rail, and M-LOK for mounting accessories.
Grand Power is a smaller manufacturer compared to industry giants. This may be in part to less mature export logistics and support than companies with existing NATO contracts. The aftermarket has provided multiple lowers that can utilize CZ Scorpion mags instead, which are lauded for their availability, capacity, price, and reliability. While there are several options for the Strybog, and now some for the newer Kuna, the MP5 does not have any widely available solutions to adopt other magazines. Kuna, Croatian for Martin, a fast, agile predator, and also the name of Croatia's former currency, produced by HS Product, introduced to the civilian market in 2025 under the import of Springfield Armory.
Kuna definitely feels like the most modern and well thought out firearm of the group. If these details are any indication of its performance, then I think we'll have a standout winner. While the Kuna and Strybog are both monolithic uppers, the Kuna is about half a pound lighter, and its less boxy receiver is easier to get a grip on, so it feels even lighter and more maneuverable as a result.
The Kuna was created under contract for the Sao Paulo Military Police. Originally produced in 40 Smith & Wesson, per the contract demands, it was later offered in 9mm for broader appeal.
Again, the controls are fantastic. The safety selector is a little stiff, but it's already starting to break in with regular use. The bolt release and mag release are right where you'd expect, and they're really well executed. HS product deserves a degree of dimensional and temporal skepticism themselves. After all, they designed the VHS Mark II, a very capable, reliable, and competent firearm ahead of its time. While all three firearms are employing a roller-delayed system, where the energy propelling the bullet is forcing the bolt in a two-stage timed operation, the recoil tells us something is different between them. The MP5 has a much more distinct rearward and forward travel, but it's soft and predictable, like a car pulling into a parking spot and stopping. The footage doesn't do it justice. The Strybog and Kuna, while still formidable on their own, don't feel as predictable. The recoil is sharper, faster, and feels more like the car is bumping into a wall behind the parking spot.
Pay attention to the bolt travel.
The Strybog appears to have the fastest cyclic rate, but not by much, followed by the Kuna and the MP5 third. Perhaps the total delay of the mechanism. How far the bolt travels behind the bolt head before locking in place helps determine the felt recoil. But it's such a small difference. Let's see the 147 grain footage. The difference is definitely there, but the Strybog doesn't feel any harsher than the Kuna. But the difference between the Strybog and Kuna versus the MP5 is noticeable. And the suppressed performance was better with the MP5, almost like it was expanding the volume of the suppressor itself. There has to be more to it. Unsurprisingly, the reload process of the MP5 is the longest. There's more involvement when the bolt doesn't lock back on its own or drop with a dedicated control, but unlike an AK, the mags are straight insert, and the charging handle is easily accessible for right-handed users. Given these results, and the strengths of each platform, I can't help but think, if the Kuna had the same level of recoil mitigation and suppressed performance as the MP5 while maintaining its modern controls, it would be near perfect. But it's not, and the MP5's controls would be much harder to overlook if its performance weren't so exemplary. So why did H and K not evolve the MP5 to a more modern manual of arms over the last 60 years, given the success and demand for the platform?
One of the 5 pillars of B.I.R.C.H guidelines is epistemic blind spot, or the inability to further develop or replicate an artifact. This is one of the primary indicators of seeded technology. Conclusion: Heckler and Koch did not invent the MP5. They inherited it. H and K, though brilliant in their own right, have spent decades maintaining what they do not fully understand. Their efforts with the UMP and MP7 represent attempts to replicate the original's performance within the constraints of their understanding. None have truly surpassed the MP5 in harmonics, recoil management, or suppressed operation. This is not stagnation, it is containment. The artifact functions perfectly, but only within its original dimensional logic. H and K, lacking access to the source code of its creation, can modify the shell but not the soul.
I'm sure that will ruffle some feathers. Unfortunately, this is largely satire. But honestly, how has no one produced a better MP5 after this much time? The Jeep Willys wagon was a huge step in automotive development when it came out, but it's been long since replaced with superior technology. The mighty B-52 bomber, while still in service, has undergone major modernization to nearly every part: engines, avionics, weapons, the main structure, and more. If you slowly replace every plank on a wooden ship over time, is it still the same ship? The MP5, however, is largely the same gun that released in the 60s. We can only conclude that it's not outdated, but that it simply arrived early or from another place altogether.